One of the biggest pieces of news to come out of the 49ers organization yesterday was the move of Steve Wilks from the booth to the sideline. As we know, the new defensive coordinator has been under fire recently with fans, even as coaches. It's specifically Kyle Shanahan, who's come out and called out some of the bad calls, specifically the one against the Vikings, and obviously a lot of pressure has been put on Steve Wilks as of late. And we know the move that the 49ers have made now outside of the bye, which, as we discussed, taking them from the booth, putting on the sideline. And how much will that actually help the situation? Well, this is the first time that we're actually hearing from Steve Wilks and his reaction to the move. And he seems to think that it might be a little bit bigger of a deal than it really is. Take a listen to what he had to say right here, courtesy of NBC Sports Authentic.
Told us yesterday that you moved out to the field. What was kind of your input into that decision, and how do you think it can help?
Oh, guys. To me, I think just very candid. I think we're making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be honest. But I just want to be able to communicate with the guys a little bit more during the game. Certain things that I'm seeing, I'd rather be able to talk to them directly than to communicate with coaches. I think our coaches do a great job. Number one, throughout the week, but also in-game adjustments. That's one of the things I've really pride ourselves on, and how we communicate as a staff and making the right things throughout the game. So it's just really with me, just wanting to be able to communicate with those guys a little bit more.
Was there any communication issues with that in terms of timing or anything?
No, none whatsoever. Again, the coaches do a tremendous job in communicating with those guys. I just felt the need, to be able to want to, communicate directly. Nothing what the coaches have been doing, and like I said before, doing a great job. I just want to feel a little bit more presence on the sideline.
You've been doing this for a while. I'm sure this is not new to you. But how are you handling this level of kind of personal adversity?
I can honestly say I'm sort of built for this. Not in an arrogant way, but I've always believed is certain. It's two things. It's what you hear and what you listen to. So I hear a lot of the outside noise. I don't listen to it, good or bad. As you mentioned, I've been doing this for a while, and I understand the emotions of this game and what we play at this level. I try not to be emotional. We're 5-3. The standard is so high here, right? And we lost 3 in a row that everybody feel like the ceiling is collapsing on us. We're in a good position. We need to turn it around. So we got a lot of football ahead of us. We want to start progressing, get better in November, and start playing our best in December. So I've seen this. I've been around this. I can take it. I'm the new guy in. It is what it is. I have confidence in myself. Most importantly, I have confidence in those players and the coaches that we're together, and we're going to come through this.
I do kind of agree with Steve Wilks in a sense that a lot of a lot of blame has been placed at his feet. And it's not just him. Now, we've talked about it endlessly on this channel. We do film breakdowns, we've been watching the defense, and we've had schematic questions on the defensive side about what they're actually doing, but it's twofold, right? The players got to execute on one hand, and you got to put your players in the best position to be successful. It's a double-edged sword. There's duality to this situation. And obviously, the move that was made and the response and the reaction was taking Steve Wilks out of the booth, putting him onto the field. And I agree with where he indicates what might be better from it. It's the same thing that I reacted to when the move came down. It's just better communication. It's real time transferring of information. It's not one person going to the phone trying to maybe take one player's thoughts, channel it through a coach, and the coach trying to explain it to the DC up in the booth. Now everything is happening in real time, face to face. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what maybe we should do. Here's an adjustment. Kyle Shanahan comes over, says, "This is what you know what I mean?" Like, that's where I think the the only thing to gain from taking Steve Wilks from the booth to the sideline is just better communication. That's exactly what he said. And are there positives that can come from that? Absolutely. Real time adjustments are needed. Um, in an NFL game. That's a huge part of it. But is this going to solve the defensive issues? Is this going to solve the run game? Is this going to solve the missed tackles? Not necessarily. Um, but so that's why it's kind of like it's a dual-edged sword in a sense. Like clearly the fan base has been clamoring for a change on the defensive side with the coaching staff and everything, and this seems to be the kind of reactionary move. We'll see if it works. I don't know if this was a team collective defense, like let's get this guy on the sideline so we can share real-time information and adjustments in a much more efficient manner, and things like that. I do know, I think, I can't remember exactly who it was. It might have been Fred Warner who talked about how they had like a team meeting before they went for break on the bye to just kind of lay everything out and discuss everything. So maybe that was one thing that was discussed: need better communication on the defensive side, transferring of information, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there is some positives that can come from Steve Wilks going to the sideline, but that really isn't going to be, in my opinion, the thing that fixes the defense. It's a combination of things. It's schemes, it's execution, it's players, all of it. It's the defense. They have the pieces and what they need to be successful, especially after adding Chase Young. So I know a lot of people have been, complaining about the defensive backs and the performances, and rightfully so. It hasn't been that great over the last 3 weeks, but I do think there's plenty of room for improvement, and I do think there's plenty of room for this defense to get back on track and get back to being that unit that we know they can be. They still have so much talent on this defense. Like you go down the list at every single level, they have talent. They have guys that can get this job done and can play at extremely high level in this league. So what it comes down to is just everyone getting on the same page. That's kind of what it feels like. Just everyone getting on the same page, everyone speaking the same language. Again, part of the issue is also too, it's like you're fitting Steve Wilks into the 49ers way, not the opposite way around. Um, and I don't think that's discussed enough. Discussed about how Steve Wilks isn't implementing his scheme. He isn't implementing his ideologies. He isn't implementing what's worked for him in the past. He's trying to take what the 49ers do and funnel that through and then do it the way that they've been accustomed to doing. So like a reverse engineering. It's not typically how DC's OCs work. It's not typically like, hey, we're going to shove you in here and we want you to run what we do. Typically, they bring in their own staffs, they bring in their own players, and that fit what they want to do. So I guarantee you there's an adjustment period happening here. And so maybe the move to the sideline will help that, maybe help in game time situations. So I do think there is positives, but the defensive issues I think go beyond Steve Wilks. And although he's playing a part in it, but so are the players. It's there's a duality here. So maybe communication, maybe a refresher from the bye will help, but let's wait and see. I don't think the 49ers, unless something drastic happens from the defensive side, I don't think they're going to relieve Steve Wilks midseason, but you never know. We've seen crazier things happen. My hope is that we get back on track defensively. We don't have to make any dramatic changes like a firing midseason. I think that would be a bad sign for the San Francisco 49ers, even though I know some people do believe that would be the fix for things. In my opinion, if you're firing a defensive coordinator in the middle of the year on a team that of this caliber, I don't think that's a good thing. So the hope is that the corrections occur, the communication improves, and the play on the field takes another step in the right direction. So we will continue to see what happens, but let me know what you guys think about what Steve Wilks had to say, his reaction to all of this. Let me know what you think about this whole situation in general. Will this move help the defense? Is it a small move? Is this reactionary to the fan base? What do you make of Steve Wilks going from the booth to the sideline? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.